everybody, what's up? Circus here, coming at you with a special edition of, I guess, the power rankings, we could call it. But this one's going to be the best decks for the KC Cup format. And I have Herf joining me tonight. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Circus?
It's good to see you, as always. So what I did is I was tracking the tournaments that were doing KC Cup format over the past 2 weeks. And that is basically, there's rounds of Swiss, there's a top cut, but you can only have one deck and no side deck. So it's kind of like playing in the KC Cup. So we saw a lot of tournaments over the past 2 weeks using this format. So basically just applying the power ranking system to this style of tournament. So if you guys don't know what it is by now, I'll let you know. But what we do is we track the decks. We give them points based on how they do in the tournament. So if a deck gets a first place finish, it gets 6 points. A second place finish is 4. A top 4 is 2 points. And then a top 8 is a single point. So the tournaments that we saw over the past 2 weeks were we did a Battle Phase Sunday KC Cup format. The past 2 Meta Weeklies, the MCS, and the past 2 Pharaoh Cash tournament. All right. So those are all the tournaments that we tracked over the past 2 weeks that used this format. There might have been others, but these ones were reported publicly. All right. So that being said, Herf, what could possibly be the best deck for this KC Cup? With proof, we have proof here.
Alright, well, if we recall back to the predictions that we did before, I said Car Curry or Black Wings.
All right. I think you're wrong on both accounts, but let's find out. Dun, da, da, da. Cara Curry, what?
Dang,
Herb.
Dude. I had 2 of the top 3, so.
Yeah. Cara Curry, Witchcrafters, Black Wings, Element Sabers, and Invoke Neos. I do find it interesting that Evil Eye, again, there it is, Weather Painters, Stromberg. That's a second place in the most recent Meta Weekly.
Dude, Stromberg.
Arrow Mage Nation right now, they're doing one of these, you know, or was it like that, you know, they're doing that.
You could do that.
We got a point. We got a top 8 in a tournament. Arrow Mage Nation. There we go. Ritual Beast and 6 Sams. 6 Sams. What?
More like 6 scams.
Would you play anything out of, let's say, the top 5 or 6? Outside of that for the KC Cup?
Maybe Kristrons.
Maybe
Goki. But Ritual Beasts, if you're seeing a lot of Witchcrafters maybe, and you don't have Black Wings, could be a really good choice.
Okay.
But Kristrons, the wielder version, have a pretty good matchup against most things, like especially like Witchcrafters and sometimes Black Wings. But they absolutely get destroyed by Sabers. And at times Neos if you don't go first. So it gets riskier and riskier the further you go down. Ritual Beasts, if you're really good with them and we're in a backroom meta, you can do pretty well. That's about it.
Okay, so
we're not playing Weather Painters.
So if you're not really sure what we're talking about here with this format, basically it's the KC Cup. It's like playing the ladder for 3 days straight. So it's a little bit different than the tournaments we usually cover. It's best of one. You just go in. So why don't we start breaking down the decks and talking about why they're so good in a best of 1 format rather than a best of 3 with a side deck and all that, okay? So first place, Cara Curry. Look at this. Look at all these tops it's got. It's got like, what, 10? In all these tournaments. It did win the Pharaoh's Cash tournament. Did really well in the first Meta Weekly. Didn't do as well in the second Meta Weekly, so I don't know if people were ready for it by then. But what do you think?
I honestly think it's a really, really strong deck. And I think it's interesting when you look at the semi-limits that they're playing. A lot of times there's like standard is two Hatronade, but more and more you're seeing a Treacherous and an Econ. And that's for like the Witchcrafter matchup. And that is just as a lot of KC Cups become sackier and sackier. And Econ and Treacherous are like the 2 like sackiest cards in the game by far. And so those can really help you with Black Wings, which you will for sure see a lot of in this KC Cup. And Hatronade basically does nothing versus them. So I think it's interesting because this player was really, really ready for Black Wings because they brought that Treacherous, which is kind of a blowout card. They brought their Anatomy so they can open the Treacherous more consistently. Gamma Oil is a really cool addition that they're putting in. It's basically just like a Monster Reborn. The weirdest thing for me was only the Tune Inishi, which is the level 3 tuner.
Yep.
Normally, you really want to open that, but if it works, shoot, it works.
It works. It's already starting to look kind of like a Shiranui deck because we're running, what, 8 monsters in there? You think we're going to start seeing less and less and less and more techs?
Yeah, I mean, like in a 20 card format, what do you need more than 8 monsters for? Like you only have 20 cards, and almost half of them are
Right,
monsters.
but
So it's like,
we always see that the deck starts out with a bigger monster pool and it always starts shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And I think that's what we're
yeah,
starting to see with Karakuri.
yeah, because they definitely in these like synchro toolbox decks, it's like you need to have something to support your synchros because we don't have auto win synchros in the game. We
Right.
just don't.
So you need
So we
something to
need,
protect them.
yeah, we need something to add on to those because this engine is super good draw engine. So you want to be able to draw into those offerings, those treacherous, those econs. You want to draw into the gamma oil, the length. Like all of the other cards in your deck basically are amazing to draw. So why not just draw them? You
So
know?
basically, they want to get a couple synchros on the board, get into their techs, wipe the field, and then go for game.
For sure.
Okay, so this does really well on a best of one because it's kind of like well, it's an OTK deck, right?
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, not as much as like Black Wings because they can play somewhat control with the trap. The offerings can help them control the game a lot. But really, I mean, if you're playing KC Cup, all the decks are pretty much looking for sacks.
Right. Okay. So is this a deck you would recommend to somebody?
Uh, to play
Yeah.
for sure. This is a I like I said before,
Would you give it the Herf seal of approval right
dude.
now?
I am saying Car Curry, very good choice,
You got to give it a fist pump to the camera.
dude. Freaking boom!
There you go. There you go. Herf seal of approval. Karakuri going to be hot in this KC Cup. All right. We'll move on to the next deck, which was Witchcrafters, also doing really well. Look at that. Two victories, one in the Meta Weekly and then one in the PCT. Witchcrafters, very strong, but is this too slow and maybe too big brain of a deck for some players?
Um, I mean, it's a really good deck. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. It's a very solid deck, but I personally feel it doesn't win super fast, and you're going to see a lot of Blackwing, so it won't have as high of a win percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this deck will just not have as great of a representation in the actual KC Cup than what you're seeing here. I mean, players will do well with it, and players will tech it out as much as they can, but overall, I don't think it will be as strong as it is here.
And what we see is that it has certain matchups that are really good and then certain matchups that are just really, really bad. We were talking before the video, like Element Sabers. They just destroy Element Sabers, right?
Yeah, but Blackwing's just clean house.
Right.
So
So
it's like,
if
and I
you're
mean,
expecting a
even,
lot of Blackwings this cup, like you were saying, possibly this wouldn't be a good pick.
yeah, I mean, and honestly, Neos even, if teched properly, can really dominate Witchcrafters. But like I said, it all depends upon what people draw. And
Uh, In
I,
what way are you saying Neos could do it?
well, all of the counter traps, right? Like Witchcrafters very much rely on their monster effects.
Mm-hmm.
So if all of your monster effects keep getting negated and your board's open, anything is going to kill you, right?
So you hit it with what?
So you have your Divine Wraths, you have your Needle Ceilings, you have your Ultimate Providences, you have all of these cards that will shut down the Witchcrafters.
Mm-hmm.
Because once, I mean, they have their normal summon, I mean, this guy's playing one holiday, right?
Right.
So you have to have that holiday in hand if something gets negated and destroyed, otherwise you lose. Which is not a great thing to rely on.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it all depends. I mean, if Witchcrafters can go first in the Neos matchup, they have a very good chance, and if they draw well. But overall, it's pretty 50-50.
So you're saying like with Black Wings, you summon out some monsters, they negate the effects of the monsters that are currently on the board, like the Raikiri, but then you just keep summoning and you can just keep going.
Yeah, level reduction allows you to go through your synchros like over and over. Like
Yeah.
you can put your Rikiri on the board, activate the pop, then they will obviously negate it, and then you just go through it again. Or you could even like bait the negate with Gale, because if you have a Gale that goes through, it's only 1400 defense, so pretty much anything's going to be able to swing over that. Or yeah, I mean, it's the Black Wings just have too many answers for a once negate, right? Like
Right.
that's not enough interruptions.
How about Karakuri?
Karakuri, if teched properly, have a very good chance because their trap is searchable, and that's really what you need in that matchup because you can negate Vera for a turn and then go for a game. You can even switch her into attack position.
Oh, nice.
So, like that aspect, especially since you have double offerings as well. Like you draw through your entire deck, and you have all of these answers to Witchcrafters that give you a very solid chance at winning. Now, it's not a guaranteed matchup by any means. Witchcrafters are only limited by the player who's playing them. Really, I mean, if an amazing player is playing them and they draw well, they can beat anything, but it's just the percentages.
So would you give this the Herf stamp seal of approval?
No, I think this deck will do well, but it's definitely not going to dominate.
I'll give it an elbow to the
An
camera.
elbow bump.
Yeah. All right, then moving on to third place. Then let's look at this one. Black Wings. We were just kind of talking about it here. Level reduction. This one's using Harpy's Hunting Ground. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's better for more matchups than level reduction. Like
Okay.
level reduction is only like really necessary in the black and the Witchcrafter matchup. I mean, it's a good overall skill, but the field spell skills are super nice because you can go into Necro Valley, which is also a hard counter to Witchcrafters because they don't really have an out.
Right.
So that's really nice. But overall, Black Wings, I mean, they're just an amazing deck. Triple close in the main deck with an offerings. Like this guy came to play, which I like. I like that guy.
So you think we're going to see a lot of this just because you win, you lose, you move on, right?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're above 50%, right? I mean, if you play enough games.
Right. If you're at
So,
like 55 to 60%, but you put in 300 games, you're going to climb.
yeah, I mean, if you put in over 300 games at a 55 to 60% win rate, you're probably going to be sitting around the top 20, right? I mean, that's just historically what we see. So,
Is that what you're going to do this weekend, Herb?
hell to the no.
Oh, okay. Well,
Dude, I
not
got like,
walking the walk, I guess. He's talking the talk,
dude,
but he's not walking the walk.
dude, are you going to do that circus?
I'm in there, man. I took 3 days off of work.
Actually,
No.
exactly.
All right. So would you give this the Herb seal of approval?
I would definitely give this the Herf seal of approval.
Nice. Okay. So if you have Black Wings, play it. But if you don't have it, don't go get it. It's very expensive.
Yep.
All right. The deck that you think is complete garbage, and you've mentioned this many times off camera, Invoked Neos. It did win the MCS. So.
Yeah, I still think it's garbage.
Oh well.
I mean, it's great that it won the MCS. I mean, I'm not going to take any away. I mean, this is a good build, but I just hate it. I okay, maybe it's better in other people's hands and other people draw better with it and all this stuff, but every time I pick up this deck, it sucks. So, I just hate it.
In
I've
what
grown to
way?
hate it.
You're just not drawn into what you need?
Yeah, I just don't think like the percentages don't I don't see how people are like not bricking with this. You know, like it baffles me. But
And how
I'm
do you feel as having Neos versus like Cocytus, Cocytus, however you want to say it?
like,
Because
how do you out it or
no,
what?
how do you feel having that as your other boss monster? You know, your other option, Neos, versus having like playing like Element Sabers and you have a Cocytus.
Mm,
You know,
I mean, they have like Brave Neos, which has like the one-time protection. They
right?
have they're going into Percatrio spam more often. I mean, it's a good like Purgatrio like turbo kind of deck, which
Right.
may be why it's gonna be good in it could be good in KC Cup. But honestly, it just seems so inconsistent to me.
It
I
just
was
seems
like,
like a budget element sabers, I guess, or you could say like
yeah,
a turbo
it's just like
Purgatrio, but you're going into Brave Neos, and it's like, is that really worth trading off? You know?
I mean, it keeps performing decently well. I mean, it won an MCS, so I mean that's really good. So like it has the results there to warrant some kind of attention, but I just hate the deck.
It's been at the top of the power rankings many weeks in a row here. Sometimes in first place, sometimes the number one represented deck in tournaments.
Yeah, and I think it's also potentially in part that this is by far the easiest deck in the meta to play.
Right.
I mean, I think that it's
It's
just
pretty
very
straightforward.
like you like there's no decisions to really make, so that may help more people play it. So that's maybe
Right.
why it's more represented. But I mean, it has far fewer results. I mean, it's in fourth place right now. So like, if more people are playing it, and it's only in fourth place, I don't know. I don't know. Like, it did
I,
win an MCS, but it didn't really win anything else.
I don't have the
So
results in front of me right now, but there are weeks where it's the number one represented deck, and it's just head and shoulders above everybody else in points. So it might have just been representation.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't. Who knows what's going on really? But I just don't like it.
Okay.
Like, I mean, that's all it comes down to. I mean, there's some people that will very avidly disagree with me, and that's valid. I mean, people can disagree with me. I'm just saying, I think it's garbage.
I think we're gonna see this one. I think we're gonna see it in the cup.
We will. We definitely will see it, and we'll definitely see it in the top 100.
So
But I think it sucks.
no seal of approval here.
I would not play this.
Okay. You would not recommend it to someone else.
I mean, if you are good at drawing what you need, play this deck.
All right.
If you're unlucky at all, do not touch this deck.
All right, we'll move on to old reliable
Mm.
element savers. Taking second place in the PCT, as you can see, it gets 12 points, but no top finishes, no first place finishes, I should say. So it did all right. It did all right. But like we were talking before the video, it's a very slow deck. So probably not going to see as many people playing this one in the cup, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, if more people are playing Karakuri and Black Wings, I think we could definitely see this deck creep up in value. And I don't really love this guy's list, but I mean, it's pretty good for sure. And I think you could do really, really well with this deck if you know how to play it.
Mm-hmm.
But Sabers are becoming, or have become over the past bit, a deck where you really have to know what you're doing with it in order to be successful with it. Like if you just kind of pick it up and you're like, I've seen people play it, you're just not gonna win as much as people who really like live, breathe, and have thought through all the situations. Because it's very much, I'm gonna do this to counter this because I'm expecting them to do this to counter me. So I have to you kind of really have to think ahead with this deck, which a lot of people are uncomfortable doing.
Oh, wow. Calling everybody simple-minded. I like that, Herf.
No, I'm not calling people simple-minded.
What do you guys think in the chat? Make sure to comment about that.
I'm
Herf's
saying
calling
it's
everybody
a very unique
simple-minded.
play style that's unnatural to
Oh,
a lot
now
of
it's a
people.
unique play style. I see.
I never said it was big brain or that
Okay.
people who don't play it are stupid. I literally said it just has
You
a
just said
different play style.
the people that play it are stupid. Wow. I can't believe you just said that.
Whoa. I said I didn't say that.
Okay. Anyways, moving on. I don't know. I think I might play this one because I just started playing the deck recently just for fun, and I'm having fun playing it. So I'm gonna play it, win, lose, or draw. What about you, Herb?
If I were to try hard in this KC Cup, I would definitely bring Sabers.
Yeah, how come? Just
I just feel like they have. So we definitely expect to see a ton of Karakuri and Black
Mhm.
Wings. So why not bring the best counter to those decks?
And you were saying before we were doing the video, like in this case, we see the guy playing 1 Floodgate, 2 Canadia. If you have maybe 3 Canadia and 3 Fiendish Chain instead of the Fusion Reserve on any Nightmare and Walla D, or
That's mandatory. Yeah, I mean, Fiendish Chain is just so good in all of your matchups that you're going to need it in,
Mhm.
that not playing it is just. I mean, obviously, I guess this guy has 2 Purgatrio and no Fiendish Chain. He only has 1 Floodgate. I'm assuming this guy obviously doesn't have access to those cards.
Right,
But I'm saying if you have access to 3 Fiendish Chain, they're absolutely mandatory.
right. But is it if you don't have those, just play what you can to protect your monsters, kind of like what this guy's
Yeah,
doing?
I mean, this guy did a very good job with what he has, and I mean, he got second in PCT. So I mean, he played what he had, and he knew how to use it, and he did pretty well with it. I mean, hats off to this guy. I mean, he did pretty well. I mean, I definitely would have played 2 Econ, but maybe he felt like he needed the Earth Monster because he only has 2 Purgatrio. I mean, that's very valid reasoning for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think Econ is a must-have for this deck, especially with Witchcrafters in the meta. Otherwise, you will never resolve your Alistair effect. So he's on to something.
Why don't
He's
you
just not
explain
on
that
the
right
other.
there for the folks at home that
So
aren't big brain like you said they were earlier?
okay, basically you need Econ because Vera can only negate face-up monsters on the field. So you summon your Alistair, Vera effect goes off, you Econ take the Vera, so your Alistair's now in the grave when the chain's resolving, so it can't be negated.
There you go. Beautiful. So you get it off the field
Thank
before
you.
she can negate it, and you still get your search.
Yeah, you still get your search, and then you can go into your Purgatrio, and you can actually use the Vera to attack. So pretty good.
There you
Pretty
go,
good.
folks. So would you give this one the fist pump of approval?
I would give it like half a fist.
Oh wow,
Half.
just not all the way up. Okay.
Not all the way.
All right. Just do any of them get the double fist?
Dude, maybe Karakuri. I
Maybe.
could double fist a Karakuri.
Wow. You heard that here first, folks. And with that, we should probably get out of here. I hope you guys found this a little bit useful. I'll put the main list up again. Probably all of these decks are pretty good or decent. Just play, our advice in the past when we had Neg on the show, -1, he just said, play what you know. Play what you know because that's what you're going to be best at. These were just the results that we have seen. I think anything probably, the top, I don't know, even up through Stromberg. I bet we're going to see Stromberg out in the cup this time around. So play what you know, you'll have fun, but take these results with a grain of salt, and I think you should have a good KC Cup.
I would argue that techs are more important than decks in this KC Cup.
Whoa! All right.
Like this KC Cup doesn't really have like a clear best deck. I mean, we talked about a few, and I've said that Karakuri, I'm gonna double fist them,
Yep.
but really you can do well with pretty much anything on this list. I mean, Weather Painters, eh. I mean, they're only good because they're bugged right now. Evil Eye, Arrow Mage is pretty good if you know how to use it, but are you really gonna play that for 8 hours a day? No.
No.
I mean, Goki and Ritual Beast, I definitely think are the two that people are really sleeping on that could do super well. I think we will see a lot of people, a lot more representation in the actual end than we see on this list of Goki and Ritual Beasts.
I'm gonna predict Arrow Mage wins the whole thing, and this is why. You're gonna load into a game. They're gonna set 3 traps. They're gonna start playing. You're like, I ain't got time for this. So you're gonna surrender out and go on to the next game. Everybody's gonna do that against Arrow Mages. There's gonna be one guy that just goes straight to the top. He's not gonna actually he's gonna have 100% win rate, but he's never gonna play past turn 2. You know what I mean?
I don't have time for this shit. Let's get to the next one.
Yeah, and he's just gonna go all the way to the top with it.
That's a prediction.
That's my prediction. Arrow Mages win the KC Cup.
That's a hot take.
All right. So we're gonna get out of here. Make sure you get in the Discord because that's where we hold our tournaments, and they're the best free tournaments around. So check that out. But we're gonna leave now. Say goodbye, Herb.
Bye bye.
All right. See you guys later.
See ya.